For England to lose a test match and to be bowled out in 37 overs, from a captain's point of view, is that acceptable?
Certainly it's not a good performance over the last 4 days. Full credit to Australia. They've, from the first morning, they got on top of us and never let us back in the game. And today was kind of for them the icing on the cake. For us, a real kick in the teeth. To get bowled out on that kind of wicket for 100 is not good enough, not acceptable, and not up to the standard that the guys can play.
When you have a recurring problem with the team, which does seem to be the case with the lack of runs in the top, can you solve that with the same batsman, or has it come to the point where you need to change the personnel? Good question.
Certainly over the last 3 or 4 months, we found ourselves too often 30 for 4, 40 for 3. That's not ideal in any circumstance. In any team, knowing that big runs at the top order. You saw what happened, how Australia did it in this game. How it sets up a game for you. So it's certainly something which we'll have to look at over the next couple of days.
Just a question for me on the pitch. Firstly, was this one prepared to your specifications, and secondly, will the next one be?
It certainly wasn't prepared to mine, as everyone seems to be writing about and talking about. Anyone knows the MCC don't get too much control over that. So we want to play on English wickets, and that probably wasn't too English, but that's nowhere near an excuse. We've been totally outplayed in 4 days. It's down to the side to play the cricket on whatever the surface you play on, and that wasn't. That's not. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. We didn't play very well, and it's up to us to adapt to the conditions put in front of us.
Alastair, obviously you can't win them all, but does it feel at the moment like it's one step forward and one back, and where's the inconsistency from?
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating. I said before the game, the challenge. The last 3 times we've gone 1-0 up in a series, we haven't managed to play anywhere near the standard we set us up. We played in that game, the following game, and for whatever reason, I cannot put my finger on it. We spoke about it. We spoke about it after the second time, the third time, and now this time, we had an opportunity here, obviously, to build on Cardiff, and just like we had an opportunity to build on Lords against New Zealand, and we haven't taken it. And I think it's probably a case of, you can talk all you want, but it's down to the players actually just the next time we get the opportunity to just do it. It's not about talking, it's about playing.
Alastair, have you invited Mark Clark in for a drink after the game, and do you expect the Australians to take it up if you have?
They made it quite clear that they only wanted a drink at the end of the series.
Alastair, a terrible game, I guess, for England across the 4 days, but what about today specifically? And you had a challenge there to try and bat for what would have been, I guess, 150 overs or so, and for it not even to get into the 5th day. Your thoughts on that and the way the batsmen try to deal with that challenge?
Yeah, as I just said to Joe earlier, it's just not good enough. And you can ask the question as many times as you want. It's going to be the same answer.
Do you think that the methods and the tactics that the batsmen employed in which to deal with that particular challenge about trying to save a game, maybe instead of pushing for runs like you were in the 3rd innings of Cardiff, is that something that you need to deal with?
Well, I think if you're going to bat 150 overs, you've to save a game, you do have to change your method. That's, I believe, anyway. There's been plenty of examples of it. You saw South Africans did Australia recently, a couple of years ago. De Villiers and Du Plessis were fantastic at doing it. A couple of times against us, we looked a couple of days ago. Last night, how many times the side batting fourth have managed to do it. So it was definitely possible. But you do have to. I believe you have to change your game to be able to adapt to it. But we weren't good enough to do that today.
Steve Smith was quite critical of your fields on day one. If you had your time again, would you change anything in that regard?
It's we didn't bowl as well as we did in Cardiff, and it made it very hard as a side to get any control over obviously Chris and Steve. So credit to the way they played. Sometimes you have to you try and stem a few runs as well. You can't always go out attack.
Alastair, is county cricket any guide to how batsmen might cope against an attack of the quality of Johnson, Stark and Hazlewood?
Well, the best players in county cricket are the ones who score the most runs. Because that's the step down. That's the next step. You don't obviously face that kind of pace often in county cricket. Well, at all really. You get the odd one, but you don't get three of them. So it is a different thing, but the best players adapt.
On a wicket like this, a pretty flat wicket, Australian bowlers seem to extract more out of it than your bowlers. And if you were to be faced with another pitch like this, what would you like your bowlers to do on it?
They did get a little bit more out of it. Obviously, it helped. We're having runs on the board, and we all know in cricket how the pressure of that. But it's no matter how flat the wicket is, it's all about consistently putting the ball in the right areas. Sometimes our best bowling has been on our flattest wicket. I remember Grenada, and actually it was the first test in West Indies. Antigua, we didn't force a result, but it was on a really even flatter wicket than that. But we bowled fantastically well in groups, in partnerships, and we put pressure on the batters by not giving them any bad balls, and we didn't quite get that right in the first innings.
Alastair, before the series, obviously you were quite keen to play down what happened in Australia last time. When Mitch Johnson gets on a bit of a roll, as he has done in this game, and some of the wickets that he's taken bear memories to what happened in Australia, how do you try and deal with that, and how can your team play Mitchell Johnson better when he gets onto a surface that causes you problems?
Yeah, no, he bowled pretty well in this game. As I said, you end up as a batter, you have to have your plans for each individual bowler. So that's something we'll have a look at over the next couple of days.
Is it a concern?
The Stokes dismissal, just bad luck, or what was your assessment of that?
Just not great cricket, was it? That's if he'd talk about time again, he would have run differently. He'll only do it once.
And right at the very back.
Alastair, how important is winning the toss over history in the recent times? The team winning the toss, batting first, just doesn't lose. So, is it win the toss and win the game?
It's not quite as simple as that. It's amazing actually over the last few. Is this now the 15th out of 16 or something like that? So it's amazing how many times that has happened. But yeah, look, it was an advantage definitely in this game to win the toss. But I'm not going to sit here and take anything away from Australia, on their performance. They outfield, batted and bowled us here, like we did to them in Cardiff. So it's beautifully poised for Federer. We know how important the first 2 days there will be.
Watch every Ashes moment live.
And this is like the days of Lillian Thompson.
Buy your live pass at cricket.com.au/subscribe.